good morning to everybody. It is just a pleasure to be here today. I am quite familiar with the topic at hand. This topic of new fare gates system-wide at BART has been in the planning and design stage, and it's just a great opportunity for us to celebrate its success as we do this ribbon cutting here at Embarcadero Station. So thank you for being here. If BART hasn't been clear, I'll be crystal clear. This is BART's highest priority. The installation of these fare gates system-wide to be completed by the end of the year is our singular highest priority, and we are on schedule to make that happen. I would like to just take a minute to pause. It's going to be a very, very busy week here in San Francisco. We have the world-famous Chinese New Year's parade. It's going to be on Saturday. And thousands of people are visiting the Bay Area as San Francisco hosts the NBA All-Star Weekend. And speaking of All-Stars and my commitment to this project, there's another group of All-Stars meeting right now, and they are installing these next-generation fare gates right now at the downtown Berkeley station, and then they're going to mobilize into the Orinda station. And so the progress continues to move forward on these installations. So we have a very dynamic set of speakers for you here today, but I would be remiss, and I might be in big trouble too, if I don't acknowledge some of our very prevalent elected officials that have joined us here today. So let me start with the BART board directors that are here today. BART board director Janice Lee, BART board director Edward Wright, and BART board director Victor Flores. Thank you for being here. And we all have benefited from Speaker Emeritus Nancy Pelosi's commitment to public transportation. Everybody on this concourse has been benefited from her leadership. And joining us today from her team is B. Dinsmore and Kate Riccadelli. B and Kate, be back here. Thank you for being here. And I can think of no other better champion in the Bay Area right now than Scott Wiener, Senator Scott Wiener for public transportation. And we have Eliza Young from Senator Wiener's office. Thank you for being here. Assemblymember Matt Haney's staff is always a huge supporter of public transportation, and we're joined here today by Sahul Sahan. Here, right here. Thank you for that. And it was my pleasure just a minute ago to have a nice conversation with Supervisor Cheyenne Chen, very new supervisor, San Francisco supervisor, so thank you. And thank you for your support. Supervisor Raphael Mendelman has been a great supporter of public transit and BART. I have a great relationship there. And Calvin Ho, Calvin is here somewhere. He's representing the supervisor's office, and of course my good friend Tilly Chang who has been heading up SF CTA for a long time and a great partner with BART and public transit. Robbie Silver, President and CEO of Downtown San Francisco Partnership. Rodney Fong is here, the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. Where's Rodney? Rodney here? He's joining us here. I'm going to introduce my boss. One of my bosses here. He is the president. But before I do, hang on a second. I do want to take a liberty and go a little bit off script here. We wouldn't be here today if it weren't for a lot of us in here. But I'm going to call out one person, and that person is Sylvia Lamb. And where is Sylvia? And I don't mean to embarrass Sylvia or put her on the spot, but honestly, we wouldn't be here. She has navigated this project. She has navigated the scope, the schedule, the budget on this thing. And but for her, we're not having this ribbon cutting. But for her, we're not going to complete all of these fare gates by the end of the year. So Sylvia, thank you for your commitment to BART and to the Bay Area. So now I'll step aside and I'm going to introduce the BART Board President, Mark Foley.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here this morning. And thank you to General Manager Bob Powers for his introduction. Greatly appreciated. We invited you all here today to celebrate a significant milestone in our new Fairgate project. We now have new Fairgates installed at all 4 downtown San Francisco stations. So that's here at Embarcadero, at Montgomery, at Powell Street, and at our Civic Center station. These are among the busiest stations in the system, and to have them all updated is a big deal for BART. It's a big deal for our customers. It really reflects our commitment to the rider experience on BART. Our goal is to really be a world-class agency for transit in the world, and this is our first step. At the end of the year, the gates will be installed at all of our 50 stations, and I'd like to thank the entire BART team who has worked tirelessly and creatively to make these installations go seamlessly at every station. You know, each station is a unique experience for us in understanding how we can do these installations. And I too want to really thank Sylvia Lamb, our Assistant General Manager of Infrastructure Delivery. Sylvia, thank you very much. Again, she has had to work very creatively in understanding how we can get these fare gates even into these stations to install them. Quite a task, and she's been successful every time so far. You know, these fare gates have more than exceeded the expectations to make sure we picked the right manufacturer, which we did. S-Traffic America has been a great partner for BART in having these installations done in an exceptional way, in an efficient way, and really meeting all of our needs and our customers' needs. I want to thank our funding partners, the San Francisco County Transportation Authority, their vice chair, also a San Francisco supervisor. Danny Sauter will give his remarks shortly. Thank you, Danny. And I want to thank our community partners, the Bay Area Council, for their steadfast support of this project for BART. And their COO, John Grubb, is here today, and he'll be making comments shortly as well. And to close, I'd like to say that these new fare gates are something that riders have been asking for many years. This is something that we've received overwhelmingly positive feedback regarding, and we are so pleased to be able to bring these to our daily riders. I want to encourage folks to take advantage of the many Clipper discounts as well that are offered by BART and by the other local transit agencies in the Bay Area, including discounts for seniors, youth, disabled, as well as our Clipper Start program, which is really our first program that focuses on level of income. And with that, I would also like to offer one last, which is our Clipper Bay Start program, our Bay Pass program, which allows employers to provide passes for their employees, an opportunity for everyone to ride transit every day of the week, every day of the month. And with that, I will introduce our next speaker, the Bay Area Council COO, John Grubb. John?
Hi, everybody. My name is John Grubb. I'm the COO of the Bay Area Council. The Bay Area Council represents the largest employers in San Francisco and also in Silicon Valley and the rest of the Bay Area. And we are here to thank BART for the incredible progress on getting these fare gates installed here. We're already hearing feedback from our member executives and all of their employees about the vast difference that they're experiencing on the BART system due to these fare gates, and that's exactly the kind of things that we want to hear. The Bay Area Council, with apologies, has been a bit of a pain in the neck on safety and cleanliness in BART, and so we're really appreciative that this is happening. Part of the reason is that we did polling with current riders and some of the lapsed riders as to why they weren't getting back on the system. And what we heard is that 78% of BART riders, of lapsed BART riders, would ride more often, and even existing riders, 78%, if it were significantly cleaner and safer. This is a year and a half ago, and things have changed dramatically. 85% of respondents said they had witnessed people jumping over the fare gates with a lot of frequency. And 80% of those riders said that they believed that non-paying riders and rule breakers needed to be removed from the system. And so these fare gates make all of that possible. The respondents and all of us believe that BART is absolutely worth investing in. The Bay Area Council is very proud that we were original sponsors of the legislation. We're an 80-year-old organization to create BART way back when, and then we've participated or led every ballot measure campaign to fund the system. We profoundly believe in it, like all of us in the Bay Area, and we can't imagine a region what the roads would be like without a successful BART. So these fare gates are incredibly important, and we're very excited about San Francisco being safer and cleaner, and we're ready for the rest of the system by the end of the year to be in the same spot. So thank you very much to BART. This is a very important day. And now I would like to introduce SFCTA Vice Chair Supervisor Danny Sauter.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Danny Sauter. I'm the District 3 Supervisor. Very happy to be here this morning to celebrate these next generation BART fare gates. And the timing could not be better as we welcome the world this weekend with the NBA All-Star Game and with our Lunar New Year parade. As the Supervisor of District 3, I also have the pleasure of serving as the Vice Chair of the San Francisco County Transit Authority Board. And that is very important because the Transit Authority Board provided $12.5 million in Prop L half-cent sales tax funding for the construction of these gates behind me and eventually at all 8 San Francisco BART stations. This is one of the first projects funded by Prop L, and I think that it is a really good thing for the voters of San Francisco to see their dollars being spent, put to work with a fantastic performing project like the gates behind me. I would like to thank our San Francisco contingent of BART directors behind me. We have Janice Lee and Edward Wright. I want to thank them for their partnership on this and their commitment to improving BART. We are all here today because we want the Bay Area and the world to know that our transit system is improving. If our message, our message is, if you have not ridden BART as much as you used to, I get it, the last couple of years have been challenging, but come back and I think quickly you will see the difference. You will see the stations be cleaner, you will see our beautiful new trains, you will see the incredible folks behind me that are our ambassadors, our police officers, our crisis intervention specialists, everyone here united to make sure that BART is cleaner, it's safer, and these gates are a big step towards that. So I appreciate everyone who made this possible. We're very close to getting all 8 of these at all of our stations installed, and I think this is a great step forward, and I want to thank everyone that made it possible. Thanks.
Good morning. I'm Kevin Franklin, the Chief of Police at the BART Police Department. The arrival of the next generation fare gates has been a force multiplier for the BART Police Department. By making it much harder to enter BART without paying, these gates are freeing up my officers to respond to emergencies and do the sort of police work that is making BART safer. BART's crime rate for 2024 was down 17% compared with the previous year. Violent crime dropped 11%. The total number of property crimes declined by more than 500 events. Our emergency response time in December was also under 4 minutes, which is among the fastest rates for any law enforcement agency in the Bay Area. The success we're having in reducing crime on BART is the result of many things, including the hard work of my team and our nonstop efforts to boost our visible safety presence. These efforts are being enhanced with the installation of the next generation fare gates. I want to be clear. Not everyone who fare evades goes on to commit crimes on BART, but the reality is many of those people who engage in unwanted behavior on our trains and in our stations do not pay to enter the system. These gates help to deter unwanted behavior. When I'm out in the system talking to members of my team and frontline employees, I'm consistently told how these gates are transforming the station environment. People feel safer once the new gates go in. I'm encouraged by our progress, but we have a lot of work ahead. While we go all out on officer and dispatcher recruitment, next generation fare gates will be installed at more stations so we get them in all 50 by the end of the year. I'm confident these efforts will allow us to build on our earlier successes. It's what our riders demand, and it's what we're committed to delivering. Now, I'd like to bring up to the podium one of our amazing crisis intervention specialists, someone who I'm very proud to call a coworker. Our CISs are doing incredible work improving conditions on trains and in stations by connecting at-risk people on BART with support services. And here to speak to you now is crisis intervention specialist Stephanie Barnes.
I remember when Chief Franklin was a beat officer. I've been at BART almost 30 years. And before becoming a crisis intervention specialist, I was a BART station agent. I have worked in every station in some capacity in this entire system. And one thing that I have seen at every station that I've ever worked is fare evasion. Fare evasion was a very common thing to see, and a lot of people fare evaded with little to no effort at all, and sometimes no consequence. But now, things are changing. BART has invested in these new gates so that we can prevent some of that from happening. It's much more difficult now to fare evade into our system, and much more noticeable. The gates aren't the only addition, though. There's other station hardening things that have been implemented, like these locking emergency exits and this plexiglass that you see coming up in certain areas. All of the people here have put their heads together over the years to come up with ways to try to prevent some of the fare evasion. These gates are definitely a game changer. If you visited Civic Center, Powell, if you visited San Francisco Airport, if you see someone who may be contemplating fare evasion, they kind of stick out like a sore thumb now. There's no easy way to kind of squeeze over or leap through. And that's because we're committed here at BART to making this a safer place to ride. So it's All-Star Weekend, and we are shining bright. These gates are efficient, they're modern, and they're functional. And if you look around the station, you may not have seen much upgrades, like we see all those home renovation shows, but now we're here, we're on the map, and so we welcome you all, and we thank you for coming. Now I'd like to introduce train operator Dwayne Deems.
Hello, good morning. My name is Dwayne Deems. I've been a train operator here at BART for 6 years now, and I'm happy to be here to give the first frontline experience as to how the new fare gates are an improvement for us in the front line. First, let me get the obvious out of the way. The new fare gates are a huge improvement over the old ones. I'm going to use our Civic Center station as an example. One of our jobs as a train operator, one of my primary jobs, is to monitor the platform as we bring a train into a station. In a Civic Center, I would say maybe a year and a half ago, pulling in the Civic Center, there was always a lot to see, and it wasn't good. We routinely see multiple groups of people openly using drugs, passed out, blocking staircases. It was horrible. And you felt bad for the people who were just trying to get to work, trying to go to school, trying to see a play at a nearby theater. But as time went on, we saw a noticeable change. At least I saw a noticeable change. And that change coincided with the new fare gates being installed. And so fast forward into now, when I come into Civic Center, it's like night and day. I just see commuters, to see people trying to go to school, trying to get to work, trying to see a Broadway play, at the current theater or what have you. And that change, again, it's coincided with the new fare gates being installed. I also want to reiterate that I don't think the fare gate should be viewed as a magic bullet that's going to solve all of our safety problems. I think the change has occurred at Civic Center, for example, in conjunction with more BART personnel being at the station on the trains, our crisis intervention specialists, our ambassadors. I see our fare enforcement officers out a lot more now. And also I want to give a shout out to our system service team, our cleaners, who have done an excellent job at keeping our stations and trains safe. So that's it for me, and Bob.
Okay, so we thought it important that you hear, that the public hear from Dwayne and Stephanie. So Dwayne and Stephanie, thank you for taking time out of your day to share your experiences as these new gates get installed. It is so important to hear directly from frontline staff about the benefits of a project, whatever that project is, to an operating railroad or an operating bus company. They're the real eyes and ears of the system, so thank you for being here. It's much, your insights are going to be what makes this system better and better and better. So a couple things. We're not going to take any, let me see the mechanics here. We're not going to take any questions at the podium this morning, but I'm happy, folks behind me are happy to do one-on-one interviews. However, we shake that out with Alicia and the communications team. Look, I want to say one other thing. So I know I'm the GM of BART, and we're up here talking about the fare gates, but the one guy that I haven't thanked is standing right behind me, Michael Jones. Michael? And I'm telling you, I probably wouldn't be standing here if Michael wasn't here. He keeps the railroad running. He keeps everything up and running as we're navigating different topics. And so, you know, I thank Sylvia for the fare gates, but I wanted to thank you as well, Michael. It's, you know, you navigating, you know, all these topics that are out there. I thank you. And I did, the other thing I didn't do a very good job. I do want to, you know, Supervisor, you said something that I wanted to reiterate. You know, this was a partnership. You know, yeah, we installed the gates, BART installed the gates, designed them and all that, but you know, it's much, much more than that. There's a whole funding partnership in the behind the scenes, right? And so I did, you know, Supervisor, you mentioned, what was it, 12.7, 12.5, something. I did want to acknowledge the commitment from the city and the county, the great city and the great county of San Francisco, in getting this done. And but for that funding, we wouldn't be here. So Tilly, thank you so much. Supervisor, thank you for reminding us of that. Okay, we're going to cut the ribbon for the new fare gates. The ribbon is right behind us. So President Foley, Vice President, Director Lee, Director Wright, Tilly, John Grubb, maybe